Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the individuals giving them. They do not reflect the opinions and views of all parties within or any and all sponsors. This is solely for entertainment purposes. Have fun and enjoy.
I'm Myke Shrews.
And I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
The Munster Cast.
episode 96. Yeah. Welcome back, everybody, to the Munster Cast, the podcast where we watch and talk about the Munsters and Munsters adjacent. I'm, of course, your host, Myke Shrews, here with my co-host and friend, Tivis. So, Tivis, please tell everybody out in the Munsterverse, how you doing this week?
Well, the eastern half of the U.S. is being ravaged by a freaking heat wave, so it's been a nightmare, but otherwise good.
What's a heat wave to you guys up there?
High 90s. About to be today makes 6 days in a row.
That's summertime here.
Well, let you choose to live there. That's not your fault.
Oh, that's funny. Actually, I think it's hotter where you are right now than it is here. So,
well, let's see what this horrible Apple. It says it's only 71, which I call BS on. But it's going to get 92.
It's still morning for you.
Nobody cares about our forecast.
Yeah. Real quick, guys, I want to toss out there before we dive into anything else that we will be taking a quick summer break before we dive back into the 100th and all that stuff. So we're going to be taking 2 weeks off. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll be back.
The 5th of August.
The 5th of August. So yeah, definitely look out for that, guys. So after this week, 2 weeks off, we're both doing vacations and other stuff like that. So
it's that time of year again. But thankfully, we prepared this year, and instead of taking a whole month or month and a half off, you're going to get a small break.
Right. Definitely. All right. Should we dive into the dirty business?
I feel like before we jump into all that, I should also mention this is probably going to be a very heavy discussion one with some opinions. Try to keep that until after we get done with the episode. So if you don't care, you can skip it. But yeah, this is a heavy discussion episode.
Definitely.
So just wanted to get that off the top so that people, who don't like opinions can scatter.
Okay. All right, let's jump into the dirty business then, shall we? You can find the MunsterCast on all social media. Whatever it is. Via Facebook and Instagram. Or Facebook and Instagram via the MunsterCast, and every other place that you go, just type in the MunsterCast or the MunsterCast podcast, etc. Whatever you want to do. You can also swing on over and see our pretty ugly faces every Munster Monday via YouTube at youtube.com/@TheMunsterCast. You can also swing on over to our website. It is www.TheMunsterCast.com. Over there, everything that we do is in one spot, so you can definitely check that out, guys. Whew. While you're over there, there is a little microphone icon on the right-hand side of the screen that you can click and leave us a voice message, which can also be played onto the episode if you would like us to. Please let us know at the very end of your voice message whether or not you would like us to do that. All right. There is also a store tab, or you can just go over to the MunsterCast.com/merch and pick up some awesome Munsters t-shirts that have been curated just for you guys out there, the Munster fans and Munster Cast fans alike. Definitely take advantage of that, guys. Also, if you want to reach out to us, you don't want to do it through social media, you don't want to do it through the website, whatever, that's fine. You can also email us at themunstercast@outlook.com. That's themunstercast@outlook.com, everybody. All right, Tivis, what we got?
We also have a Patreon, which is always mostly just a tip jar. You want to help support the show, help support our RSS feed, our website, and these video formats, you can do so at patreon.com/TheMunsterCast. Anything helps, dollar, something that you won't miss out of your pocket, whatever. You can only do it once, also helpful. But if you can't do that because, times are tough across the world, global economy, all that BS, what helps the show more than anything else is leaving us a review on anything that will let you, a comment on anything that will let you, social media, YouTube, whatever, giving a little blurb, thumbs up, star rating, all that. And also telling anyone and everyone, whether they want to listen or not, tie them to a chair, tell them all about us. You know way too much about our lives by now. Regurgitate all of it.
Yeah.
All of that stuff will help the show a ton. And we really appreciate each and every one of you that has done that. Or has given to the Patreon. We really appreciate you.
Then guys, also if you would like to help us out with a little credit but also help yourselves out, you can go to themunstercast.com/stickermule10. That's sticker MULE10. You guys get a $10 credit there. You get some awesome stickers you want made for yourself, keychains, t-shirts. They do everything there, guys. You can even get packing tape with your logo put on it, which I've done in the past. So
that's
definitely
such a silly item, but I think that the idea is cool.
Right? It's kind of cool. It's yeah, I did that for my production company. So yeah, definitely take advantage of that, guys, and just know that we do get like a little $10 kickback. Not a $10 cash kickback, but a credit to the account so that we can use it towards other stickers and keychains and whatnot that we want to for the show. And as Tivis has stated before in the past, any of our links are through like Amazon, stuff like that on our website, our affiliate links. We do get a little kickback from that. So definitely, if you have not purchased any of those items and you would like to, please do it through our website. That way, through the clicks of the website, that way we get a little bit kickback or something.
Like
if you're going to buy it anyways. Yeah. I always tell people, I always even tell my family, I'm like, dude, if you're going to buy it, at least use this link here for us. So yeah, it doesn't cost you anything else, and it just really gives us a few pennies here and there. All right.
Literal.
Yeah, literally. What are we talking about today, Tivis?
Today we are talking about Thicker Than Water,
and we never would have guessed this episode.
No, God, no. Season 2, they're getting so much better with these names. Because we were guessing them off the bat there at the beginning of the season. Season 2, episode 19, or 113th if you smush both shows together, aired Saturday, May 5th, 1990. Is it May? Yeah, it is May. Okay.
Yeah, it's May.
Sometimes I see March and put 5 anyway. This was written by Michael Davidoff and Andrew Barakov. Both of them have been in the show before, but I don't think they've done things together. It does not look like it. Michael, this is his 4th of 5, so he'll be back for the finale. You may remember him from things like The Not So Great Escape, It's a Wonderful Afterlife, Never Say Die. And for Andrew, as for Andrew, I'm tripping over my tongue today. This is his wow. Okay, so this is his 3rd of 8. And this will be the final time we see him this season. He did Melting Pot and Pants on Fire. These two have episodes that we have really loved. So together they have created something very interesting that I can't wait to dive into. Then for our director, we have Lee Lockheed, who is back. This is his 7th of 9, so he's almost done. Mike, you may remember a lot of his stuff. Professor Grandpa, Computer Mating, One Flew Over the Munster's Nest, Munster Hoopsters, There's No Place Like Home, Munstergeist. Yeah. So
Oh, the good stuff.
oh yeah. This is like a dream team. I wish these trinity of people would come back together, but I don't believe they do. As for our guest this week, we have two. One was only given a couple of lines and plays a news reporter, and they're not given credit anywhere. IMDb has failed me there, so I'm going to throw that out there first. I'm sorry, cannot find you anywhere. The next one, Billy Daly as Count Stimpkin. Now this dude, he passed away in 2018 at the age of 91. Long life.
Yeah.
He was given he was put up for 2 awards, won one of them. He's got 38 acting credits to his projects to his name, not credits. He's got 1 writing credit. He wrote 1 episode of I Dream of Jeannie. But his first acting credit was in Bewitched. So right off the bat, this guy is sitcom, gold.
Yeah.
He was also in My Mother the Car, which I will never get over that this show exists. 131 episodes as Roger Healy in I Dream of Jeannie. The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Love American Style. 140 episodes as Howard Borden of the Bob Newhart Show, the 72 version. 2 episodes of Chips, 2 episodes of Love Boat. God, this guy's career is like gold. 4 episodes of Alf, 22 episodes of Starting from Scratch. He came back for an episode of the 90 Newhart Show. Then he did this one. I Still Dream of Jeannie, the TV movie in 91, of course. Yeah. Oh, in 2011, he was Grandpa in something called Horrorween. There you go, Mike. There's something for you.
Horrorween?
Yeah. All one word.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I just want to check out his awards real quick. Let's see. In 2005, he was nominated for TV Land Award for Favorite Nosy Neighbor. And at the same year, he won the Icon Award for the Bob Newhart Show. Both of those were for the Bob Newhart Show, by the way.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Really great to see him in this show because just everything this guy was in was like just good. I don't think I saw a single dud on that list.
Awesome. All right, man. Now what?
I think it's time. That's what.
It's time. It's synopsis time. All right, guys. So we are on episode is 19, correct?
Yeah.
Of season 2. All right, guys.
We are nearly done. We are in the final stretch.
Yeah. All right. Synopsis time for the episode 19, Thicker Than Water, which aired May 5th, 1990, as Tivis previously stated. On this episode of The Munsters Today, On this episode of The Munsters Today, we discover more of Grandpa's past as a college radical resurfaces, igniting a fierce debate within the Munster household over banned books and freedom of speech. When the controversial author's work is targeted, the family rallies to defend it, standing up for the right to free expression. However, Grandpa sees the book as a threat and is determined to eradicate it. Meanwhile, covers are blown as Marilyn plays a game of dominoes and bets it all on another cute boy. Will Herman take a pay cut? Will Eddie sit around all day? Will Lily become the vampire she was always made to be? Or will she need the help of an orthodontist to fix her fangs? And as we reach a dramatic climax, will Grandpa confront the harsh reality that the true danger lies not in controversial ideas, but in those who seek to suppress them? Will he cling to his dogmatic beliefs and risk harming innocents? Or will he embrace the value of open discourse and the importance of intellectual freedom. And will chaos ensue? Find out this week on the Munsters Today. Yeah.
Chaos indeed. That was really good for one you were worried about.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't know where to go because I didn't want to make too light of a situation.
Oh, this is one heck of an episode. All right, you ready to start on this then?
Let's dive into the 21-minute episode that we have to talk about today, guys.
Oh my god, it's only 21 minutes.
Yeah.
This one felt so much longer with all the content. But let's jump right in. All right, so we
Technically
open.
it's less than 21 minutes because you don't even get into the episode itself until 1 minute in.
Yeah, taking
Of
up the
the
credits
runtime.
and all the transition scenes.
Yeah.
So we open with Herman, Lily, and Grandpa sitting at the table eating. There is a radio playing some horror score that I don't recognize. Did you, Myke?
Look, when this started happening, when this scene came on, I thought my audio was off.
I was just wondering if it was from another thing that Universal owned.
It probably is from one of their older movies and stuff. Yeah. Because it was just jarring to me. So I ended up watching this twice because I had to watch it the first time on my phone, unfortunately. So when I came home late last night, I ended up watching it again, and it was still jarring. The second, I was like, wait, why is this music so? Because the way they queued it up, it was just weird to me. Like it was really like overwhelming with the audio for just the music that was playing. I 100% thought it was not part of the episode.
Yeah,
sure.
Grandpa calls it easy listening, but real quick tangent. Did you watch the trailer for the Dark Universe at Universal Orlando?
I did not.
You did not?
Not yet. No, not yet.
It looks so good. Everyone listening, it's been out a couple weeks now. I believe I shared it on our Facebook, but it looks real good. If you're into Universal, like I'm not even a roller coaster guy, and I'm like, I want to go see this place.
Yeah.
All right. So
awesome.
the radio station is TBAT, the voice of Transylvania, vampire radio to neckbite. Yeah, I dug that little tagline.
Yeah.
Herman begins cleaning out his wallet for the first time since the Louisiana Purchase for some reason, and he pulls out his first driver license, which, by the way, how does he have that? Like, they used to take it from me up until a few years ago and cut it up in front of me.
Really?
Yeah.
We still have all of our old ones, yeah.
Oh, we weren't allowed to keep it until they started delivering it to us by mail.
Yeah. We have ours. It's the same with our old passports and all that stuff.
Yeah, my grandma used to take them for some reason. She rest in peace, but she was a hoarder. She lived through the Depression, so she picked up some really bad habits, and she would take them and scan them on her printer to keep the images of them for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, she was a funny lady. Yeah. So, but and pulling up the license immediately brought back memories of my favorite episode of the original show. So I'm gonna make
when he goes and gets his license.
Yeah, with the crazy old guy. I love that episode so much. So
that should be on their list of ones to rewatch for the original series.
Oh yeah, definitely. We learn a little bit of small details about Herman. He's 6'8". He's got blue, brown, and undetermined eye color. He must wear corrective lenses and corrective shoes. I didn't know that was something they put on driver's license, but
yeah.
I know glasses, but the shoes part.
Yeah.
He even checked the organ donation box because he's a great believer in recycling.
Great believer in recycling. So we watched Rob Zombie's The Munsters again the other night.
Yeah.
And when I started watching this episode, I'm just like, there's no way that this is not something Rob watched to come up with some of that stuff.
It has to be 100%.
There's absolutely no way, because I really wish we could talk to him and ask him person to person, you know.
Rob, do a podcast for once.
He's done a few, just they're usually the really big ones. So yeah. Yeah, that would be interesting to hear from him if he took from this as inspiration, because I was watching, I was like, this is one, there's no way that this isn't, you know, influence at all.
Does he have, is there, because you know some people have things for fan mail to go to, is there like a PO box we can email?
They probably get so much crap because of like his music stuff already, dude, so I don't even yeah, probably not.
Damn.
I know people who have worked with him who have tried to get them on their own shows, and they talk about how it's nearly impossible. So,
well, I mean, even if he doesn't get on here, if we could send him the questions and he can get to them when he wants to.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yep. Anyway.
Yeah. So, Count Frederick Stimkin, author of Count Frederick Stimkin's Thicker Than Water. There's our title.
It's Strimpkin.
Strimpkin.
Where did I write it at? Shapushika. Stripklin.
I just had the IMDb open. Let me just get back to it.
Because I could not understand it at all in this episode, so I did go to IMDb to look up how the heck it was spelled. So it's Stripklin. Strip and then Klin.
There's no L.
There's no L? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
I swore there was an L. All right. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So there's our title. Has gone into hiding. Death threats continues from the king of the vampires, Count Vlad D. Impala. Which I can't stop laughing at because of the car. Also, that's some amazing vampire lore we are just getting dropped on us just willy-nilly. There's a king of vampires. Also, they have a radio station.
Yeah.
Grandpa hates Stripkin, and Lily, it's like, hey, weren't you fraternity brothers? Like, that was before he messed up by writing that book about vampiric codes. I'm like, okay, hold on. Now you're telling me that there's like the Pirates Code version for vampires?
Yeah. There's like the vampire code, but the vampire code within it is like how they should interact, but also like it has things in it like their weaknesses and shit like that. So
it's like, what gives him the right to make fun of all their laws and rituals? And this immediately got me thinking, because coincidentally enough, like just like a week or two ago, we were talking about Leo Taxel. And I'm like, it's kind of familiar. And for those who don't know who this guy is, he got in trouble with the church for writing. Basically, he was a giant troll before trolls was a term. He messed with the church and made fun of a lot of their outdated ways of doing things. And he also was a Freemason until the Freemasons got tired of his BS, and then he turned on them and kind of made an enemy of everyone. Also, there's a city that he got thrown out of because he convinced people there was a sunken city in their lake for no reason. Absolutely no reason. The guy was a prankster.
Yeah,
it's fascinating. Read up on him.
The troll before trolls, basically.
Yes, the original, one might say. Herman doesn't see the big deal. Grandpa tells him to imagine if someone insulted you, ridiculed you, and belittled you.
You do that to me all the time.
And just walks away. So Grandpa continued. Anyway, he thinks it's great. They are rallying together against this one dude. He
Mhm.
personally sent $50 to the Great Get Stipkin Fund. Herman calls that BS, as he's notoriously cheap.
You
So
never
Grandpa's like,
spent $50 on anything.
yeah, it was the money I saved for your birthday. Which may or may not be true. Who knows? Lily tells
Mm.
him that people are allowed their opinions, but Grandpa says, not if it offends other vampires. And Herman understands this one. He saw Young Frankenstein.
I remember I remember how I felt when Young Frankenstein came out. And this is when Lily says, well, and it made no sense to me as Herman delivers that line, then
Mhm.
she just straight up just says this, and I was like, I'm confused. Why are you just saying that random line? But she's just like, it's a small price to pay for free speech. I'm like, what? At this point in time, it didn't make any sense to me. I was like, what? Because you saw Young Frankenstein? I don't, what? What? I don't know.
Yeah. So Lily then
It
asks,
was out of place to me.
it was an interesting line that I must have totally missed because I have no memory of it, but
Yeah.
we'll get into it once we get all the show. So Lily's like, hey, did you even read the book? Grandpa says he would rather sunbake, which is great. I love anytime he uses tanning as something he would
joke.
rather do. How can you condemn something you haven't even read? This is extremely, incredibly relevant to today's stuff. Just saying.
I think it's relevant throughout history, dude. It's
Oh
not
yeah,
even
it
just
is.
today.
I know. I'm just yeah.
And
Herman tells.
that's why they say history repeats itself.
Yeah, it repeats itself because we refuse to learn. Herman tells them not to fight, but Lily says it's just a discussion. So then he's like, well, why is it a fight when we don't agree on something, but anyone else, it's just a discussion?
Right.
What's the difference? So Grandpa goes about 100 IQ points and turns the radio back on. And that's why is it with significant others we can't just have discussions? It's always a fight.
Because we've been with each other for so long that we already feel we know what they're going to say. So rather than actually sitting back and listening to them and discoursing and everything, we just automatically assume what they're saying is an attack on us as people, as human beings. I've actually had this discussion with my wife, because I don't like doing the whole arguing constantly. She likes to raise her voice more than I do. I'm like, just chill out, bro. I'm not even in this conversation with you until your voice lowers, basically. Is how I go about it nowadays. And I think it's usually in my experience anyways, the woman always raises her voice first. And then it becomes an argument. And I'm just like, why are you arguing with me? Why are you yelling at me? We're not doing this. I'm gonna wait until your chemical balance comes back into proper format and we're gonna talk about it properly. Yeah.
Now you definitely getting punched.
This is how I talk to my wife. Yeah.
Yeah. We got into I called it a discussion. She called me contrarian to everything she says. I don't understand it, but there's a house by us that's like way back in the woods. And I'm like, man, how great would it be to live there? You're like in the area, but still like secluded.
Yeah.
Like no neighbors. The driveway goes so far back you can't even see the house behind all the trees. She's like, I wouldn't want to live there. You're unsafe, more likely to get robbed. I'm like, you're less likely to get robbed. They can't even see the house. How do you know it's there?
Yeah. It would have to be something very planned out to go out back there. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, she's just like, you just want to contradict me all the time. I'm like, what? No. This is all right.
Yeah, well, a lot of people too don't, and not even just in relationships, it's just in general. A lot of people automatically assume if you don't agree with them instantly, that it's an argument.
Mhm.
And I think that's the world of like we're in because of like the Twitters and the Facebook arguments and stuff like that of
She's
the
not even
world.
online though.
I know, but it does fade into the real world just because of how people interact there. And she does watch videos. So
Yeah, she's a very avid reel watcher.
yeah. So watching those, I mean, you see it and you see the discourse and you see people make light of the situation or make it okay to constantly bicker and argue in these stupid real videos. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not how I want to live. I'm cool.
Now, I will admit that sometimes I do disagree just because I can't. So she's not a completely wrong that I do that.
Oh, I know she's not. I know you too.
My family comes from a long line of if we care about you, we'll mess with you every now and then. So it's in me. She doesn't
Yeah.
appreciate it, but it's still in me. Anyway, we're in the lab now,
It
and
happens to the best of us.
Agrippa gets out a book and begins a ritual. He drinks water, which gives life to the masses. Blood, it gives life to the chosen. Milk, it does a body good. The Got Milk campaign is going strong.
Mm. He's doing some. It got very cultish here with Grandpa.
Yeah, yeah. I got thoughts on that. Lily comes down and it talks to Grandpa, and they immediately launch into a memory of them going to a midnight service
Mm-hmm.
for the Impala, which still is making me laugh because of the car. Apparently, she kissed the Impala's ring and showed her fangs for the first time in public. The Bulgarian orthodontist did great work. Vampires were respected then. Nowadays, they are evil bad guys in movies or goofy cartoon characters. Breaking the fourth wall there.
It as they're talking about like all the Impala stuff and all that crap, it reminds me of in Star Trek, Deep Space Nine. They might have introduced it before DS9, but they had the Ferengis, the people who are always about money, 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 money kind of
Okay.
stuff. They have the what the heck is it? The Grand Nagus, I think it's called.
This is all new to me, so
Yeah, the Grand Nagus, whatever. I always thought it was funny because it's like kind of like he's like the nagger. He nags people, so it's Nagus, the Grand Nagus, Nagus, however you want to pronounce it. Which is kind of like what I get the feel for like this person that they're talking about that we never see in this episode, clearly. It's just like the head of the Ferengi people. Like everyone has to like basically do what he says. He makes up the rules and all these things and stuff like that.
yeah. I couldn't stop imagining that this was Ken. Oh God, what's his name? From oh my
I
God,
have no idea
Community.
what you're talking about.
And those other movies that I can't remember the name of right now. Dr. Ken.
Oh yeah.
Formerly Doctor. Because in that terrible parody of Twilight Vampires Suck, he's like the leader of the vampires. So
Yeah.
I kept picturing him for some reason.
He's not formally a doctor. He still is a doctor. He's just an actor at the same time.
Are we sure that he gets his medic? Because you have to continually go to annual conferences.
Still a doctor. He still has his doctorate degree. He's still a doctor, regardless.
Those expire.
Your degree does not expire. Your licenses expire. So you're not practicing doctor, but you're still a doctor.
That's a fair argument. Yeah, that's fair.
It's not an argument. It's a conversation. Come on, we just talked about this.
An argument for that side.
I think it's people like you. It's like, oh, that's a fair argument. It's not an argument. We're not arguing.
That is an argument. That is a definition of the word.
It's not an argument.
If words have more than one definition, we have been over this.
It's not an argument when one side is right and the other side is wrong.
That's also a fair statement. I can't do anything with that. Yeah.
So next time you and your wife are talking like that, be like, it's not that we're arguing. I'm right, you're wrong. It's not an argument. It's a conversation.
Oh, that will get me hit. So Lily goes, "What do you expect from Hollywood?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he's talking about the movie characters are villains, and the TV were goofy cartoons.
And then he goes into talking about every Halloween kids put fake teeth in, screaming, "I want to suck your blood." What true vampire has ever said that?
Blah, 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 blah.
Lily goes, "Well, I mean, Count Tillis, but he did have that speech impediment." Or no, Grandpa says that. That's right.
Yeah.
So Lily is like, look, it's the 20th century. Times change, and perhaps Stimpkin is right. Oh my God, I wrote this guy's name different every single time.
It's because it sounds different almost every time they say it.
Now I'm calling him Stripkin.
Depending on who says his name, it sounds like Strimpkin, Stimkin, Stripklin, I was just like, I don't even know. I don't
know if they knew.
I wrote it with like E's and I's when I wrote it down because I was like, I have no idea. So I'm just going to write it in one way and we'll find out. And that's when I went to IMDb and I swore there was an L in it. So apparently I'm just blind as a bat.
So Grandpa then picks up his holy text and tells her how she can defend an infidel speaking against her very life, or how can she defend an infidel speaking against her very life this way.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when I'm like, oh my God, this is Leo Taxel. Lily asked how Grandpa can defend a dictator like the Impala for wanting to kill Strimpkin just because he wrote a book. Mm. He then blames her youth on her bad decisions, as old people do. And I won't read the rest of the stuff I wrote there. He then insults Herman, even though he's not there. Herman yells down and says he can't undo his shoelaces, underlining Grandpa's insult. And Lily's like, that's just bad timing.
Yeah. This is kind of like the definition right here of Grandpa, like is like the definitive, like, you know, our culture is this, our culture is that, the culture can't change and type of stuff.
Yeah. So what I didn't read out, I guess I will. It's the older generation who have trouble connecting with the youth of today, basically, or accepting that.
Did you say again, dude?
Some things change.
Because you're.
Oh, I cut out.
Oh,
my back.
Yeah. You keep cutting in and out on the video feed anyway.
Oh, all right. So basically, I was saying how the older generation have trouble accepting the younger's changing views. So in a nutshell, in a nice, not as nice way, I put it.
Right on.
But here's some exciting news. Oh, go ahead.
I don't have nothing.
Oh, okay. We're in the living room and Marilyn's back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's my note too. Hey, Marilyn's back.
Yeah. Like, woo, she's back finally. She's playing a game with Eddie and Herman.
Well, did you write down the part where Grandpa says she doesn't always make the right decisions? Take her husband, for example.
I wrote that he insults Herman, but I didn't put the insult. No.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I guess the three of them are playing some kind of quiz game, and she picks up a card and reads a question. What is known as the original American dessert, Myke?
I don't even remember what they said.
Eddie says entrails. But no, it's apple pie. And Herman and Eddie are bewildered.
I guess apple pie is like the traditional American
Yeah.
thing, huh? I don't think
You
I've
put it
had
on the
apple pie.
windowsill and it causes people to float up to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've had apple pie in a while.
Oh, we have it we go to the orchard, pick out some apples, and then she makes it for me because she doesn't like it. Which blows my mind because she claims she doesn't like it, but then she takes a bite and she's like, "Oh, that's good." I'm like, then have some.
Yeah.
People are weird.
Okay.
But like,
Dude, I just thought about this for a second. Marilyn, as far as the actress goes, she must have the easiest on besides having to drop weight because the producers are weird and everything, and get liposuction or whatever stuff because the producers are
a-holes.
Hollywood. But she's like literally the only one who doesn't have to have something put on her body every day when they go to set. So why does she get so much more breaks? I figured they would use her and shoot her stuff and shoot more solo stuff of her while the other guys are still getting ready to get on set.
Yeah, give us a freaking Maryland episode already.
Right? Anyway, that's just an observation. I didn't even think about it ever before until just now. Because everyone else has a ton of makeup and stuff on. Even Eddie has the ears and stuff. So
yeah. So this is when Lily comes up from the lab and she tells them Grandpa's in no mood to play games and won't be joining them because of the Stimkin problem.
Which this happens too. It's sad. We didn't experience it in our family, but I do know people whose family members let what was going on in the political realm disrupted their psyche so much that they didn't spend time with their family, like that they were just like in the a specific mood all the time, to where they just didn't give time to their family, which was really sad.
Exactly. And that's why I really love what Herman says here, where he's like, I've had enough of Strepkin, and let's just talk about literally anything else. And that's how I feel with some of these people. Like, why are you letting this stuff seep into your very politics and culture war bullshit? Like, there's literally, it makes me sad to see people so absorbed in this, because I'm a very passionate person about things. I'm politically motivated with some of my stuff and other things, but I don't let it control my everyday. Like, most days once I get going, I don't think about it until someone brings it up, or I'm seeing, some new info about it being presented to me from reliable stuff, not just whatever. So I'm like, there's so much more to life than this stuff is important. Don't get me wrong. It's very important. You need to think about it. No, it is important. It dictates your everyday life.
It's only important if you are actually going to take the steps that you can take as a normal citizen to do something
things you
about
should
it.
do as a person. Yeah, there's no getting around that one. You should do things. These things impact your life in every facet of it. If you don't believe that, you are truly fooling yourself, just point blank. But don't let it control your life. There's other stuff out there. Go enjoy the outside. Go spend time with family. Play a game. Read a book that's not, don't don't let this stuff halt your existence for any amount of time.
And we're only here once, so anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
Before, unless reincarnation is real, but
we still are only here once.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Even if you're reincarnated, you're somebody completely different or something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe in that.
Yeah.
Some
people say my fear of snakes is because I was a mouse.
I could see that. So when Herman says that, that's when Eddie says, well, my slugs are mating.
Yeah.
What, Eddie?
He tries to change the topic. And Marilyn's reaction to this was, oh my God.
Yeah.
Herman's just like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, Eddie.
And then the doorbell rings.
Yeah, this kid. he's got mating on the mind. So Lily starts heading off the door, but not before telling Herman that issues won't go away by ignoring them, which, yeah, look, when you have
deep-rooted issues won't go away, I would say.
When you have an overbearing family member who won't stop talking about a thing no matter what, like every single time you see them and nonstop, you're allowed to say something in response, like, hey, like, can we not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then promptly go home, as you've probably been thrown out of their house, but
yeah.
It is what it is. It's just life.
Usually with people like that, though, every conversation is an argument because they have it set in their head that the one way, you have it set in your head another way, which is sad. Like I've very you know me, I'm very open to listening to other people's points of view, regardless if I even agree or not. Like there's plenty of people that I'm friends with, I don't agree with their personal views and or lifestyles and stuff like that. So, but I'm still friends with them because you know what? Yeah, I don't agree
Audio
with
listeners.
Tivis.
I'm pointing at myself.
I don't agree with Tivis's point of view on life as a mouse. So,
but no, it's true. My wife has an uncle who we just don't go around anymore because he can't help himself. But my aunt, who swings the same way, let's just say, while she still makes rude comments about my wife that pisses me off, and that's why we don't like her, she knows that when we're together as a family, no one else agrees with her, so why even talk about it? And we feel the same way. We're not going to bring up stuff to upset her because this is family time. It's not debate time.
Yeah, there's a place and a time for that stuff. Yeah. And not every family gathering needs to be about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or every time you phone call somebody, it somehow gets turned into that. And I'm just like, okay, I love you guys. Bye.
So at the door, it's Strimpkin, who I have spelled differently again.
Stripicalinga.
I'm just gonna start calling him Frederick. She invites him in, and Lily tells him how worried they've been about him.
It's Count Strip.
He then kind of starts hitting on her, and it's creepy.
Is that I got a little bit of that at first too. Yeah. I was like, are they like a thing? Were they a thing in the past? Like I was a little, yeah.
She then takes him to meet her family. He's very excited to meet Dr. Frankenstein's boy. And Herman tells him it's a pleasure to meet him before he's assassinated.
For your assassination.
I watched this like 5 days ago, so I'm remembering this as I'm reading. Yeah, that just hit me off funny. Lily's like, look, I want you to know I support you 100%. And he's, oh, I wasn't worried about that. Like father, like daughter, right? And she's like, eh. And then Grandpa decides to come up.
Yeah.
Immediately gets into it with Stimkin. And
He's like, long time. And Grandpa's like, not long enough.
Stimkin brings up how they used to drink O positive together. My you monsters, O positive is a rare quantity for blood donors.
That's why it's funny.
Grandpa says that that doesn't matter, or that doesn't make us blood brothers. Which, alluding to the title again. The original saying, by the way, I want to point out. So, whoever wrote this did their research.
Mm-hmm.
Strimpkin asks for his help because it's hard to hide from people who can fly and see in the dark. And, I may have been followed, by the way. The doorbell rings again. I've been followed. So Lily hides him with the mummy as Marilyn goes to answer. It's the Domino's product placement.
Mm-hmm.
Stimkin, I spelled it wrong again. Frederick, this one's Stipkin, asks him to talk to Grandpa, and who concedes. It's like, hey, all right, fine, let's go talk in my lab. Let's make this quick.
Yeah. Well, is this before or after he says the line, vampire code means as much to me as coffins that open from the inside?
And that's during the conversation.
Okay.
Yeah. So they go down there, and Stripkin says that he needs to fire his maid as he looks around, which...
This made me sad because Leonard doesn't move at all in this scene.
Yeah.
I was like,
Grandpa,
no, Leonard. Even maybe he's asleep.
In college, Leonard should know this guy.
Right.
Yeah. Leonard might be in the fraternity with them.
Yeah.
Grandpa goes over and grabs his holy text. Or no, I'm sorry. Stripkin goes over to try to grab the holy text, but Grandpa yanks it from him, saying, hands off. They hold no meaning to you. He's like, what do you mean? They're extremely important to me. And Grandpa's like, well...
Wait. Wasn't Grandpa like taking his finals when he got Leonard? When he met Leonard? So he was about to graduate, right? Or was it finals just for that year?
It was the finals for that year. I think it was his freshman year.
Okay. All right.
I think. Listeners, if I'm wrong, let us know. Let me know.
Yeah.
Don't tell Mike. He'll gloat. Yeah. Grandpa's like, why did you come here? Why are you here seeing me? Well, we're friends. Like we protested the first werewolf war together. And then Vlad remembers World War I fondly.
Yes, WW1.
But that
just made me think. It made me think of Underworld, the movie Underworld.
Yeah. See, that's exactly what I thought too. But that was over 300 years ago. I'm not the same vampire.
How old
I lived
is
through
Grandpa?
the years.
How old is Grandpa?
What?
How old is Grandpa? They keep making him sound like he's younger and then older and then really younger and then really older.
I believe the age we got was at least 400. So he had Lily around his 100 era.
So then he was protesting while he had a daughter at home?
No, they say it was over 300 years ago, so she came after. Because Lily is only 300.
Okay. All right. Yeah, basically, Grandpa was like a hippie.
Yeah.
He was the guy who put the flower in the rifle.
Because remember, she met Herman when she was young still, so probably in her 20s.
I shouldn't say that. He's a normal protester because hippies and protesters were completely different. Like, yes, hippies did protest, but other people have protested too. So I shouldn't even say that he was the hippie.
So hippies are protesters, but not all protesters are hippies.
And not all hippies protest, though.
Well, then what the? Okay, so it's a Venn diagram where they meet in the middle a little bit.
Yeah. Because I mean, the Manson family were hippies too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
but technically, they were protesting when they were killing people. So
they were also a cult. A lot of hippies ended up in cults
because they were very impressionable, as
yeah.
most youth were and still are today.
Also, the drugs probably helped.
That's what made it very impressionable.
Yeah.
You get the youth to take the drugs, and then they're impressionable and they're on drugs. So then you can tell them everything and tell them you're Jesus, and they'll believe you.
And still to this day, believe you.
Manson was once. I wish I would have been able to meet that guy. I just be not for like any like fandom reason. I wanted to punch him in the face. He's such an ass. He's like, I'm gonna make sure we kill all the wealthy white people so that all the blacks won't know what to do, and they'll come to me and I'll be their god. Like, fuck you, bro. Sorry.
No, those are reasonable feelings. What's funny is I was just talking to my wife yesterday about a person who used to run the company that we were at that went into the freaking ground. Like, if we do a lawsuit, instead of asking for a monetary gain, can we just ask for one punch? Is that something we can do? And she's like, I'd rather kick him in the balls. I'm like, okay, so let's put it this way. We'll say one hit to the body. That's non-negotiable, but he gets to argue or determine where.
Well, that's not fun. So maybe he has abs of steel, and then he's just like, hit me in the abs.
Brass knuckle. I didn't say no weapons.
I'd be like, I want a souvenir, face, tooth.
Yeah, I don't know. You just jog that memory for me from just yesterday, that very far away day.
So long ago, back when I was a mouse.
Yeah. So his Crepa brings up the Reagan years again. This show really loves digging into Reagan, and I'm here for it. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's that time. It's that era. Yeah. Makes sense.
It's still that time in that era.
Yeah. It's true.
Let's see. Oh, Grandpa goes, I'm sorry. I have to follow my conscience. I'm turning you in. So after the commercial break, Stripkin tries to convince Vlad about the code. When was the last time you drank blood fresh from the neck? He's, not since Marie Antoinette lost her head.
Yeah.
I get it delivered now.
Yeah, he gets it from the blood bank, he says. I actually thought this was kind of cool because they reference something that people probably asked for years, like, where does Grandpa get his blood? Is he out at night, and stuff? So this was kind of a cool little add into the lore because it's kind of like, well, no, it's the code changed throughout the years. So instead
like he referenced that during season 1 too. Something about he gets the blood bank delivery.
He did say something about
Red Cross delivery.
Yeah, he gets it delivered to him, but they didn't explain like that. That it's like kind of like a written rule not to feed off of humans anymore directly.
Yeah. So and Stripkin's like, 200 years ago, the code would have put due to the code, they would have put you to death. And Grandpa goes, yeah, and then it was amended. Why was it amended? And Grandpa, who is fed up with these questions now, is like, damn well why. It was an image thing. People got tired of us around their necks constantly.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that would have definitely given you a bad rap. And strip. Okay.
When you think about the whole vampire thing and stuff, the thing they did it in one of the Blade movies where it was kind of like a Matrix building full of people where they were just bleeding them out, but they were constant. Farm. Yeah, it was the blood farm with the people. Granted, they were mostly like, they said they were like homeless people, things like that, whatever, that they pulled off the street. When you think about it like that, it's actually not a bad. If they were vampires, we would totally have something like that. That. true. Like,
So you're saying feed the homeless
and
to
I've
vampires?
listen here. Listen, okay, it's not a bad idea. It's like a source of not necessarily homeless people though, but like how some people will there's been granted this is all fictional stuff, but it's like, or not even fictional, because people will donate organs and stuff as they die, but other people will be like, you can have my body for this or this and stuff like that. It's kind of on the same level. If you can continually make sure that you going into that blood sack, so that you're being bled for forever, whatever they did with the people in Blade.
Doesn't our blood coagulate real quick though?
I think that's why they had them in the tight bag things that they had them in, and it was just leaking them out, bleeding them out slowly. But I feel like if there's like a thing where you sign it and, oh, hey, my family gets X amount of dollars for my donation of my life and my body and stuff like that. And granted, this is all fictional stuff, but it would make sense if we had vampires in the real world. So it's not a bad thought. And when I thought about it with Blade, I'm like, bro, those people are already dead. Like you turning the machine off, you're just literally you're killing, like, you're killing them faster by turning the machine off. You're not helping them. You're not alleviating their pain. None of them can feel anything already. So why are you turning the machine off? Anyways, well, tangent for another show when we talk about Blade or something. Yeah. But I thought about it when I was watching this. I was like, oh yeah, blood bank, and then Anyway, sorry guys. But yeah, so they dive back into talking about the book.
Yeah, Stripkin says, it was changed because people had the courage to stand up to it. Have you even read my book? And Grandpa freaks out and says he will have to hail Impala 20 times just for looking at the cover. It's just a book. It's a bad book. And Stripkin goes, there's no such thing as a bad book. And Grandpa goes, you ever read Jackie Collins? For those who don't know who Jackie Collins is, she was an English romance novelist and actress who wrote 32 books, many of which made the bestseller list, and she passed away in 2015. So, but everyone has an author they can't stand. So Grandpa grabs the book with tongs and is about to destroy it. He's about to destroy the profanity in his home before Stripkin tells him, if you do that, you're no better than the people who burn witches. And that hits Grandpa hard. Like, he's like, okay, fine. And Stripkin walks away after leaving that sick burn. And Grandpa's like, so he starts flipping it open with his tongs, reading it finally.
Yep.
So then we jump
into it.
Yeah, we jump to upstairs. Stripkin is showing family photos to Herman, Marilyn, and Eddie. His grandson has a ring in his nose. He's like, yeah, just wish he didn't have that. Herman doesn't understand why other vampires hate him so much. And Lily tells him because it's hard for old people to understand things. Understand things change even though they saw it happen before their eyes decades ago. I mean, vampires. Herman says Stripkin should write anything he wants, except a sequel to Young Frankenstein.
Well, Lily also said, she says that they've been living a certain way for so long, it's hard for them to see things in a different light. And then Stripkin's like, it's hard for vampires to see anything in the light. In any light. Yeah,
that is good.
But that's when crap. Herman says, write about whatever you want besides Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Shipkin then goes, oh, yeah, I wish there were more men like you.
Mhm.
And Herman's like, well, I hope you're comfortable robbing graves in the high electric bill.
That's the only thing keeping more Hermans from being around, the high electric bill.
Especially nowadays, ain't nobody trying to make a Frankenstein monster.
Yeah, although there is his cousin whose name I already forgot. Not his cousin, his brother.
Frank?
Frank. That's right, it was just Frank.
It was named after his dad.
Yeah.
How's that hard to remember?
Because I literally forgot it. I was thinking of Jonah and
Johanna?
Charlie and yeah. So Strimpkin goes on. He's like, the thing that concerns me is my family. There is no place safe for them anymore. So maybe I should just give up so they will be safe at least. And Lily's like, no. If you give in, what will what of the other authors that take a chance to tackle hard-pressing issues that make people think? Like, what will happen to them? So he counters that Dr. Seuss has one coming out.
Yeah, Dr. Seuss has a new book coming out.
I love the jokes in this. They're like very poignant.
Yeah.
Marilyn is as confused by the situation as Herman. And Eddie asks if they could get the author of his algebra book on the hit list.
And then Rise Grandpa.
I finished it.
Grandpa must be a fast reader.
He's got that vampire
flash. Yeah. Flash reading.
Yeah. Well, what did you think? Absolute trash.
Trash.
Yeah. How so? And Grandpa then quotes some erotic section about the Impala. Marilyn and Eddie are way too into it, and Herman's like, oh, well, that was well wrote. And then picking the book up after Grandpa slams it on the table, looking for the page. What page was it again? Eddie leaps down to help. Grandpa goes, he's like, all right, I'm going to turn you in. But Lily takes the phone, just rips it in half. And Herman's like, you could have just pushed the clip down, honey.
Yeah.
You overreacted. I love that scene because she just vampire strengths the hell out of his.
Yeah, rips it right out.
So Stripkin's like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to leave. But Grandpa goes, I don't need a phone. I'll use my CB radio to do it. And Herman, who apparently still has his love of CB radios from the original show.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I can think of is this has to be a reference to that episode. He's like, oh, the Impala has a CB radio? What's his handle? Hemoglobin.
I really thought we were going to get a shot of Grandpa with the CB radio.
Yeah. Come in. Stripkin tells Lily that he has to run before they descend upon him. And Lily's like, but don't worry about it. I accidentally dropped it into the aquarium yesterday. I knew this was going to happen. Grandpa,
they have an aquarium now?
Yeah. It sounds like Grandpa gets electrocuted and catches fire. He's like, that's only going to take him 5 minutes before he figures out a different way to contact him, right? And he's like, 5 minutes is plenty of time. Let's go, gang. With Eddie and Marilyn in tow, and then she yells at Herman to stop looking for that page and help them. And he slams that book down too, like, ah.
So then we have Grandpa. This part annoyed me. Grandpa standing at the top of the stairs yelling down to let him down, and Herman's holding the stairs up to where Spot would normally be. He's holding the stairs up.
He's keeping Grandpa hostage or delaying him.
I'm just like, why didn't Grandpa bat out to fly down?
That's what I said.
Like,
He
I
could
was
just
like, wait,
flown down.
what? Yeah, yeah, I was
I,
really
I guess
annoyed
he,
by that.
I guess he was just too annoyed by Herman to.
Think about it.
Yeah. What are you doing? I want down.
Maybe that's their subtle way of saying when people are being stupid around you, you become erratic and don't think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he's so distracted by the Strumpkin stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, the next time you do that, he will rearrange his neck bolts. It auto-corrected my notes to say orange. I got so confused. I'm like, he will orange his neck? What? So Grandpa comes into the living room and he's, what's with all the books? What? And Herman explains that they are reading them, perhaps for the last time. He's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I am so confused. We were trying to get rid of this guy. Now you're all we didn't own these books. Where did these come from?
I'm sure they own them.
It sounds like Lily went to the library to me, but she's like, oh, every one of these have been banned somewhere in the world. And Grandpa's, are you kidding? Tom Sawyer? Really? The Pit and the Pendulum? I used to read that to Eddie for his bedtime. What the hell's wrong with people?
I know these books were actually banned too before at one point. What was Tom Sawyer banned for?
Because I think it was racially motivated.
It wasn't Jim's name, was it?
Tom Sawyer was banned for what?
And what decade was that? Because I know it was banned because I've seen the banned list before.
Because of the character's morable questions. They said Tom Sawyer was pro-communist, subversive, and racist.
Oh my goodness. How is he racist?
Well, it was from remember they tried to do the same thing with Huck Finn. It's just because it's a book from that era and they were being term accurate.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know because Jim's name has the N-word in it, but I'm like, I don't think that makes the character racist.
Well, no, this was the overcorrection. Okay, you know how things swing both ways. You get this far side are insane for certain things, and this side is insane for a completely different set of things. Mm-hmm. So while one side was calling them communists, the other side was like, no, we can't have anything with that term because it's bad. Because learning about our history and all the terrible things we did apparently is not good for us, even though that's how we learn not to do it again. Here's where I stand, people. Anyone wanting to know, this side is stupid, this side is stupid.
They're all sides are stupid.
You know, a few of them in the middle are reasonable.
Everyone's stupid.
Oh, that I can't argue with. But yeah, so there's multiple reasons why those books have been put on ban lists over the years.
Yeah, I was like, it can't just be because of that one word. There's no way they banned it just because of that one word.
That's exactly why they tried to ban Huck Finn back when I was in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's probably because it was like mandatory reading, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's why we had to read it, but it was good.
Meanwhile, they were like, "Oh yeah, read the Scarlet Letter." I'm like,
yeah, we had to read that too. That's the one I hated was Catcher in the Rye. That book was so dull.
I read that one. I read that and the Scarlet Letter before it was mandatory to read it for a class.
Yeah, that
because I was one of those kids who just read books.
That was my sophomore year of high school. We had to read those. Death of a Salesman, and what was the other one? There was another one we read. I can't remember now, but yeah. Anyway, God, now I'm just remembering
High school.
that book where the kids that got stuck on an island from my freshman year of high school. Where they killed Piggy with a boulder. I forget the name of that one. Lord of the Flies. That was not good either.
Yeah.
We also read The Chocolate War. That was a much better book with like pretty much the same message.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, that one is like a kid who's in a Catholic. You ever seen the movie Brick?
Maybe. I'd have to see the poster. Let me see.
It's kind of similar to that, but Brick is the more exaggerated, hyperbolic take on it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah. So
I stuck with the movie names. I have to see a picture of the poster lately. I watched so many. I watched a really bad movie the other day, and it pissed me off. So
that's not unusual for you.
I won't say what it is, but let's just say it was worse than some of the ones I made you watch on the other show.
Did you finally watch Madam Web?
No. Not yet.
That one's still on my list, but apparently I've been told, even by my buddy who really loves and is forgiving of Spider-Man stuff, to prepare myself. So, like, oh boy.
Oh boy.
Anyway, yeah,
let's dive into this because this is about to get heavy.
Yeah, Stripkin's like, well, some people found them offensive. It's like, what kind of person would be offended by rats torturing the Inquisition? I know what you're trying to do, and it's not going to work. So I kind of want to go back to where they said turning vampires into goofy cartoon. That line is straight out of Hanna-Barbera.
Really?
The amount of things. I know what you're up to. So Marilyn asks, he's like, well, what would it take to convince you? And he's like, nothing. I'm going off to find a payphone. Lily apologizes.
Don't know what payphones are these days. Because I explained this when we were watching that older movie, and I had to explain this to one of my kids. Even though he's seen a payphone in person, at one of the theme parks, they still had a payphone that worked and stuff.
Yeah, they're still out there. They're just rare.
Oh, it was the box. It was the full, bill.
Oh, it was the phone booth.
Yeah, the phone booth. So people who don't know,
go watch Original Superman.
There were phones out in public that you could go in and put a quarter or a dime or a few nickels in, depending on what era of you used it. Credit card after at a certain point too, where you could make a phone call anywhere because we didn't have cell phones in every pocket. Eradicating our sperm and killing it so we can't have babies. So. But also, yeah, Superman. Go watch Superman. Or, if you are in the UK area, go watch Doctor Who.
Well, those are different. Those are police boxes.
Oh, yeah, those are police boxes, aren't they?
Yeah. Bill and Ted is another good one. Yep. Isn't there a movie where the phone booth, the guy's trapped in there from a sniper?
Yeah, it's called Phone Booth.
Yeah.
He's not trapped. The guy's on the phone. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if he leaves, he's going to get shot. That's why he's trapped.
Allegedly.
Yeah. There was another one that I had in my brain that I just lost. Well, doesn't matter.
Die Hard. Die Hard with a Vengeance. You have to get to the phone in the subway and stuff like that.
Jingle All the Way. There's no phone booth, but there's payphones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Old movies, they're good.
Airports used to have a lot of payphones.
It kills me.
Airports don't have payphones anymore still.
They should. It kills me to call Jingle All the Way an old movie.
Everyone's under the assumption that everyone should just have a phone. What about all the homeless people that need to, call to make sure that, they can call the police if the vampires are coming for them?
Yeah. Mike's trying to sell them to a vampire. So Lily apologizes to Strimpkin and he's like, don't worry about it, all right? Some people will never change their worldview. I mean, vampires. the doorbell rings and Herman tells him to get into the kitchen. And he's like, "Where's the kitchen?" And I'm like, that is a great, like, the fact that he doesn't know their house because this is the first time visiting.
Mm-hmm.
I love that little throwaway line attention. It's such attention to detail.
Yeah.
Herman's like, through there. So it is John Turtle from 6 o'clock news. They've heard that Count Strimpkin is in their house. Who told you that? Or this is Lily. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
A very reliable source. Who? A pizza delivery boy. She turns and glares at Marilyn, and Marilyn's, what? She turns back to the news reporter. Don't believe that liar. Or he told us a large pizza would serve 6 people and slams the door in his face. How could you, Marilyn? He promised he wouldn't tell anyone, and I didn't think.
And he was a little cute.
Yeah, I'm like, stop doing this to Marilyn, for the love of God.
Yeah,
but
they kind of turned her more into like one of the Brady girls.
Yeah, she's like, all right, look, we don't have time for this. Whatever, we'll deal with this later. We have to get him out of here. In the kitchen, they have a wig and glasses on Strimpkin. Eddie's like, no one will recognize you. And Herman says, and even if they did, they're going to think you Roy Orbison.
Yeah.
But isn't he dead? Just don't move a whole lot.
Dude, I do appreciate the use of the kitchen. We don't get it as much as we did in the original series. So
I feel like we've only got it like 3 times this season.
And they're usually just like a quick spot here and there. Yeah.
Marilyn gives him a snack and apologizes for what's happening to him. And he's like, look, it's fine. I just wish I could repair your kindness. And Herman goes, all right, just don't make our next meeting at the parlor. That's his only request, which is a very nice, like, stay safe kind of comment.
Do these vampires not turn to dust?
It's hard to, because we've seen Grandpa out in the daylight, yet they also make comments that the sun is bad.
Yeah.
So as they head through the living room, Grandpa tells them it's no use. The Impala's men are on their way as he speaks. And Eddie's like, what are you going to do if they catch you? Well, I'm going to turn around, look them in the eye, sing Pretty Woman. As he's leaving, they hear a news update from the radio. 30 innocent people, including 5 children, were injured after a right-wing vampire group blew up a bookstore. Jugular United has claimed responsibility, vowing retaliation against anyone who continues to sell thicker than water. And this apparently wakes Grandpa up to the extremist factions that he's been defending.
Mm-hmm.
The vampiric code stresses peace. He can't believe that they would hurt children of all things. Eddie could have been there. This is not supposed to happen in America. Why didn't someone do something? That's when Lily rushes over saying maybe they still can. And moments like this are why I love sitcoms. Honest to God, I feel like no drama I have ever seen has given real emotional weight the way these shows can deliver it, because it's always out of nowhere and it always hits hard.
Yeah. I mean, that's real life though.
Exactly.
Those moments hit hard and they're always out of nowhere. You never expect them. And I didn't know what to expect by the end of this episode, because they kept it very cool, like humorous, but with like a little serious talk in it.
Mm-hmm.
And when this part happened, bro, I'll be honest, like I teared up from Grandpa's like realization of this. And it's hard to not watch this episode and hear Grandpa, the tone of his voice. Granted, the music cue is there too, but the tone of Grandpa's voice delivering these lines and saying, that could have been my grandson there. That could have been, we're not supposed to do this. We're not supposed to. And I think this is a realization that to bring it to like kind of a real world thing, I think it's a kind of a realization that a lot of people had when it was the January 6th stuff happened here in the States a few years back, of like, oh, we're not supposed to do this. This isn't what we signed up for, kind of thing. When you thought we were doing the right thing, type stuff. And I kind of, it's crazy to think that these storylines were in things. What is this? Almost 30 years? No, it is 30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
90s. So like 30 years ago, they were doing these storylines, and the same thing goes for like Star Trek did freaking storylines, geez, forever ago, back in the 60s when it first came out. And even in the original Munsters TV show back in the 60s, we had stuff going on in the topic of discussion throughout those episodes. And it's just like, it makes you think when you watch back on all this old content, which, being the person I am, I watch a lot of older stuff, and it's kind of getting ridiculous to the point where you're like, shit, dude, this was going on in the 60s and it's still going on to this day. This was going on in the 90s and it's still going on today. This was going on in the 40s and it's still going on today. And it's gotten ridiculous, and watching the way the world is now, especially with the advancements that we do have, and the knowledge that we have, and I, having kids, have been able to have discourse with them, and conversations, and a little bit to try and gauge where the youth is at. They think all this stuff is still just in movies. And this is the issue that we have with the world as a whole, not just America, but the world as a whole, I feel, is that it's just in movies, so people don't take it as seriously, because, you know, people are like, oh, it's just a story, it's just fake. No, they're in these things for reasons. I think Blackish was one of the sitcom shows that got really deep lately, out of recent memory that I remember. I think Young Sheldon did as well, with different issues, not necessarily something to this level of it, but yeah. So there's plenty of sitcoms still out there tackling these events, and the sad thing is, dude, they're still the same things. They're the exact same things, and I can't. It gets harder to deal with as someone. You know, everyone's like, oh, well, that's just life. And I'm like, yeah, it's life, but it shouldn't have to be, when we know the repercussions already.
Yeah.
If anything, things are getting worse because there's more outlets to corrupt people into these cults or beliefs, or what's it, extremist groups and stuff like that on any side. It's not even a left or right thing anymore. I don't feel. I think it's just on any side. There's extremist groups all around, in politics and religion, and, you know, freaking sexuality even, and stuff. It's weird that we have these things, and seeing this episode in the time that we're in right now definitely has a bigger impact too, because we're older, so we've lived a little bit more and have seen these things actually happen in real life too. You know, I'm not sure how many events were going on back when this episode aired. I'm not exactly sure what was going on at the time. I was only 4 years old, so I wasn't really.
I didn't exist.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this moment got me, dude.
Yeah, we got a couple more scenes if you want to knock those out real quick.
Well, I just want to say, I thought that this was great right here.
Yes.
This scene, and then they cut to the credits. And I wish they would have ended it like that, to be honest. It would have been awesome for them to go out on that note for this episode. But again, 90s sitcom. So let's continue.
All right. The final scene. Grandpa is reading the paper. There were the radio kicks on again. There was a 14-car fender bender in Hollywood. Several injuries were reported, but no fatalities. Herman says, seatbelts are going to cost him a pay cut.
Yeah.
The radio continues. Eyewitnesses say the accident happened when several people saw Roy Orbison leaving at 7-Eleven running from vampires in the middle of traffic. Grandpa's keep running count. Freeze frame on the family.
Yeah.
So
it made me feel a little odd with this scene right after the scene we just got.
Yeah, they tried to give a little levity, but that is such a heavy thing that they just dropped.
Yeah. But I do feel like that ending scene, after the setup, it was so. I wrote this in my notes. I wrote they end on a nice, sad, thought-provoking note, and then I wrote, and they ruined it. And then I wrote, not sure I like the ending on the comedy note after the setup, not to mention we're saying because of this one man's freedom of speech or expression or whatnot, all these bad things are happening. Like, yeah, we got the event of the bomb, which huge thing, but now we're saying like him running across the street is what caused this pileup of cars. It's like you're kind of not making us feel like this one man's freedom is worth it for all this damage that's being caused.
Yeah.
When you lead it like that,
Well, to be fair, the family is who put them in that costume. So isn't it kind of the Munsters' fault that this pileup happened?
Yes.
But I do appreciate that we do get the information that the Count escaped. He's still out there on the run.
Yeah.
They didn't take him.
Just means someone's going to hurt his family, though.
Yeah, there is that. That was kind of forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact he brings that up is this episode. There's like the things that it connects, like the church, the Constitution, book banning, even the Red Scare, religious conservative zealots out there, even something as minuscule as like purists of fandom, like the people who hate anything that's not the original Munsters. They can't accept change. You can take these things and run with them in so many different directions. It's
yeah.
So yeah, like the thing that comes to mind immediately so here's where I'm going to go into opinion. So if you don't want to hear what I have to say, here's your warning.
It's just an opinion too, by the way. So there's you don't need a warning for an opinion, dude.
The whole thing with the bookstore and stuff, I got flashbacks to that nightclub massacre that happened in Florida.
Oh, at the gay nightclub in Orlando?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
I think
yeah.
I don't remember the name of it.
This is so hard for me to put into words.
The Pulse nightclub.
Pulse.
Yeah. That was back in 2016.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I was not in Orlando at that time, though.
It was it's still like people refusing, specifically conservative religious people who refuse to accept that there's other ways for people to live out there other than the quote unquote traditional, the intolerance that they spew out there. And I'm trying so hard not. because I don't want to. There's people out there in these who aren't like this. So I'm not trying to make this, group everyone into it. But there are very specific mindsets out there that are still continuing, that are putting people's lives at risk with their ignorance. And like the current right now.
Well, here's
They're
the
trying
thing.
to say that all gay people are child molesters.
I have not heard that one.
Oh no, it's true. I've almost gotten into fist fights with people in person about it, because they're perverting the children to groom them into, like, first of all, shut the fuck up. Look at the people you are defending and how many fucking, Catholic dickheads did the very thing you're accusing these people who just want the right to marry someone they want to, without being feared of going out to a club and being gunned down.
Well, I'm gonna say it. There are fanatics, there's zealots, whatever, on all sides of it. Whether you're looking at it from a religious standpoint,
when's the last
or
time
not.
someone kicked down the KKK's door and shot them, even though they deserve it more than anyone else?
Well, most of
it
those
seems
people
to be
are
only
usually
people who are trying to change the way we live here, where they want, gay rights, LGBT, trans people. They're the ones who are constantly getting gunned down everywhere. Or if they're a different religion.
That's not necessarily true. There are plenty of things happening. There are plenty of things happening within the confines of not those hate crimes going on that the media just does not cover, unfortunately, because it doesn't.
It's all recorded. All the statistics are out there for us to view, and honest to God, go look at them. They're so one-sided. It's certain groups that are constantly being, and yes, they aren't the only ones, but they are the majority. And
well, you could have said that a few years ago too about all the attacks, and I'm not even trying to go against you. I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, before there was all those attacks at the churches where congregations were being slaughtered, stuff like that, and people did not come out in defense of those as much as they do for other acts of violence towards specific groups of people, not religious groups. So there is like a toss up between the two.
Well, I mean,
not even a toss up. There's an equal
attacks on Muslim, Jewish churches. Like, again, even other sects of Christianity, like the smaller ones who are, shocker, more progressive in their thinking. Aside from the one with the snakes, I think that one got attacked, and that one was a weird church to begin with. But
snakes.
Yeah, I forget where it was. It's like in the northwestern section. They had snakes for their stuff. I could be wrong that they were one of the ones that were targeted, but I swear they were. But it's always people trying to change things, to make them. When the women had to go out and protest, not just here in America, but they also had protests in Europe and other countries that still don't have the freedoms that we have now, just because they wanted the ability to vote, to be equal. There were attacks on them. I mean, if you look at the amendment to our Constitution, which again, they bring that up, you amend the things, you change them. The church is known for doing that. There's so many things that they're okay with now that they hated electricity when it first came out. It was the devil's thing to light up the night sky. That is not a hyperbole. That was something that actually was decreed by a pope.
Well, that's also Catholic, so let's.
Well,
so,
I mean,
don't put that on
that's
all
still,
religions.
I mean, theaters got it, comics get it,
Mhm.
D&D, literally anything that anytime a new generation starts trying to think, get more freedoms, change the way things are looking, it gets blamed on people trying to brainwash them into thinking this way. The stuff with Israel going on, they're trying to blame it on TikTok and everything else instead of just looking at the fact like, hey, no, we understand US is fucked up. We see what happened with Afghanistan and stuff like that and what actually led to 9/11. We know what caused the domino effect, and it all comes down back to us. And they're constantly trying to subvert that and change the thinking. And it's like, oh, you're young, you just don't understand. No, that's not how it works.
I would say to an extent, because there are a lot of, and not all youth, but there are a lot of youth who don't know a single thing, even about history, to even be speaking on what they should and should not change. There's so much going on within the world, and I'll take it back into like books and media and stuff like that. Even when there are musicians from the past that have songs from 30 years ago, before some of these people were born, dude. And those songs are now being attacked because they don't fit the mold of what society is at the moment in this current state.
Yeah,
And
well,
they're trying to cancel artists and authors and all these things and rewrite stuff.
which who's that guy right now? The big court case with that rapper. Oh, I can't think of it, but oh, dude, if you
Did
haven't
he?
looked, no, not Diddy, no, that
I
screw
was
that
gonna
guy.
say
No,
that's
there's
no.
a rapper who has allegedly been linked to the Bloods that's currently on trial because they're saying his music is once again they're saying the music he did is a confession.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shit show, dude. The judge has been held in contempt of court by higher courts.
Young Thug.
Yes. Oh my God, is that a circus? If you want something funny to alleviate this heavy episode, go read about that. The judge is in trouble from other judges for he's got evidence that the guy is innocent and refused to allow it in, and he met with the prosecutor in secret, which is something you cannot do. It has
Right.
to be disclosed to everyone involved, and it is a mess.
Well, I mean, you can't even take, and that's an issue is people assume just because it's a lyric or somebody wrote it or I'm the director of this movie that talks about this, that is what I believe, or that is what I did, or that is my life and stuff like, and it's like, no, dude, like that's not how that works. It's art. There may be some real stuff in it, but it's still
Yeah.
art.
But,
Because I
and
mean, but if they were gonna charge this guy with lyrics and stuff, then they need to be hitting 50 Cent up, because he talked about how, he guarantees, I guarantee he knows who killed the dude who shot him, because
yeah,
he talks about it in his song.
yeah.
So it's not like,
Another thing, just specifically on the rap stuff, you can't admit that stuff in the court because there's so many times they do reference the truth, but they exaggerate it for dramatic effect. You can't, like, that's like saying, oh, I was going to say someone who wrote a book, but then I'm like, oh wait, OJ wrote that book about how he got away with it. Yeah.
I mean, he wrote a book of how he would have gotten away with it if he actually did it. Allegedly.
Sure. He's gone now, so we could say whatever the hell we want. It's not defamation anymore.
Unless the family wants to sue you.
I ain't talking bad about their family.
Just saying, bro. No, like there's so many things though nowadays within like the music industry, especially with the hip hop industry with that. I mean, look at Eminem, like people like these kids are trying to like say, oh, he should be canceled for these like really stupid lyrics that don't make any sense. Like if you're gonna try and cancel him for something, go back and listen to when he like, killed his wife in the song and put him in the trunk of his car. Like, what are you talking about? Like, oh my God, he said this and that referenced this event. I'm like, what?
So
get over it, guys. Like,
I've went hard on a certain side, and now I'm going to go to the other side. That it goes both ways. Like I was saying earlier, yes, there's this group, not good, dangerous people. This group, bad for very different reasons, but still bad.
They are still dangerous though, too.
Well, find me someone who has actively attacked anyone. That's my argument there. Yes, I mean, even look at the dude who invaded the politician's house over here and threatened to kill his family. He was a guy who was a member of the cult from this side, who thought he was going to make himself he was trying to Charles Manson it and create.
At the same time, though, we do have on the other side, and I will straight up be honest with everybody out there. I am neither side because I do not care that much to dedicate my life to one facet of beliefs. Like I change my mind all the time on different things,
as people should,
and that's what you should do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you do have like those extremists that are attacking people, like, or like just take for instance the January 6th thing at the Capitol.
Yeah.
But then you also have all of these they call them protests, but a lot of them end up into riots, and not even just like riots, but they're destroying family-owned businesses for no reason other than out of the disguise of, oh, we're protesting so we can get away with doing all this bullshit. No, that's not fair to those businesses.
That happens, yes. But whenever you get a group of people together, there's always going to be that section who will take advantage.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's always on both sides. There's always going to be
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we shouldn't outlaw protests.
No.
Even though some officials in your area have actively done that.
There's peaceful protesting, and then there is riots. And what the news has in the past considered protesting were not protests, they were riots. They turned into riots, but they won't use the word because of what they were protesting against in the first place. And they need to distinguish between the difference of it was a peaceful protest that turned into a riot. Say that if you want to say anything. Some of those
riots were reported incorrectly, though, like the one here in Toledo. They had a peaceful protest for Black Lives Matter. It was peaceful. Some people far away from both rallies, because there was two going on, broke into a Target that was miles away. And they took that excuse to start shooting rubber bullets into the crowd and pepper spraying them and everything else and calling it a riot. So there are some peaceful protests out there that get labeled that way for no reason.
Yeah. Oh, no, I understand that.
Yeah.
And the same situations happen, though, like in any side, things are blown out of proportion.
But again,
it should be.
As I was saying, I've gone hard on it. I am also going to go on this side because, like I was saying, bad for other reasons. like I was mentioning earlier with the Huck Finn, they want to get rid of any amount of history that is any kind of way makes us look bad because, oh, people shouldn't be subject to that. No, we need to understand our history. We need to know it was bad.
And that is not even, and the sad thing is I feel it's like a they get the youth to want to ban these things because they don't want the history out there. They don't want these things out there, and that's just a form of censorship. It's just a manipulative. It's a manipulative censorship
that can be dangerous in the long run by creating ignorance and fueling. That only leads to more of this, like this and this. They have different motives. They have different ways of going about it, but they both lead to bad things.
Yeah.
One of them is active. The other one just leads to it down the road.
Right. Right.
And it's like, this is so hard. I'm sorry if I've lost any of the listeners. I'm really sorry, but this is a heavy episode that there's many things in real life that are going on right now that are related to this.
Yeah.
And it's hard to talk about it without bringing that stuff up.
Well, if you just want to dive back into the base fact of the episode, it's about censorship of
that's where I was
own,
going back around to.
It's a censorship of one's own
people standing up to try and create change, which is why I was swinging towards the women marches and stuff, trying to get the right to vote.
Well, even within the confines of the episode we watched, it's like you don't even have to agree with what he's saying, but you're still gonna fight for his right to say this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how I am. I don't have to agree with what you're saying. I don't have to agree with what you're saying right now, but I'm still going to let you say it. I'm still going to fight for your right to say those things because that's the whole point of freedom. If I am going to deter or neglect or take away or censor anything that you have to say because I don't like it, then I am no better than a book burner out there. I'm no better than a dictator who's like, oh no, you can't say that. Oh no, we're gonna close this section of the internet so you can't read this. Oh no, we're gonna make it so that you do this and this. If you're gonna fight, and I hate this too because you see left and right side. I know there's a lot of people in the States that are not left and right. I understand that 100%. But I'm going to take left and right as a political stance side. Left and right side, you see it all the time. They're always the right more so.
Let's be honest. They're the ones causing the problems. The culture war bullshit between the two of them. Where everyone's stuck in the middle.
But you have the right is so stuck on freedom of speech. I can do whatever I want. I can say whatever I want because I live here, blah, 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 blah. The other side's like, well, no, you can't, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, so the second that you're saying that no, their freedom of speech means nothing, your freedom of speech then becomes nothing. And then what you're saying and what you're trying to propose and your new elements of change mean nothing either. So it becomes a thing where they need to come together and fight for each other's voices to have any meaning out there. If you don't have connectivity or community or anything like that, and you're just constantly fighting with each other about, oh, your opinion doesn't matter, doesn't matter, nothing matters, nothing is actually ever going to truly change, as we've seen over the past just 30 years from this episode here alone. Things haven't really, if anything, I don't want to say they've gotten worse, but because of the advent of the way media and stuff is portrayed nowadays and the access to news and all that stuff, and especially the amount of fake stuff there is out there, I do feel in my lifetime has gotten worse in certain avenues
of it. Well, this is to go on top of that. Look, free speech is important, but there's so many people who don't understand what free speech actually is and
Yeah.
what consequences are for their free speech. You have the right to say
Yes.
whatever the hell you want. How people react, especially private businesses,
Mhm.
you have to understand
Also,
they may
freedom of
not like what
speech.
you said, and you're going to get the consequences of it.
Freedom of speech does not matter when you are talking on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, things like that, because those are corporations. They have the right to block you whenever they want. It doesn't matter what you're saying, good or bad. So
Yeah,
people need to
especially
understand those routes,
yeah.
and YouTube.
And people saying that Twitter is now freedom of no. Do you know how many
No,
journalists have spoken
I,
out on there that have been
I have
kicked off and banned?
I have a friend who still gets like shadow banned or whatever they call it now every so often. Like they like block his account or whatever. And
That's
he
not a shadow
says,
ban. That's just ban.
yeah, whatever. Well, they like set it for a certain amount of time. Like you can't
Yeah,
use your account for whatever time.
temporarily banned.
And he is not necessarily left or right or anything, but they don't they don't care.
Yeah,
But my whole
I'm
point
not saying
is
any of the other ones are any better.
but my whole point is in a real world circumstance, if we all are just going to say no one's opinions matter other than ours, nothing will ever come from that.
yeah.
You need multiple opinions, you need multiple perspectives on a topic to even understand it. People who are fighting against LGBT stuff need to come together with those who are fighting for it to understand the logic between why are we doing this. We just want them to have equal rights. That's all it is. That's where people are coming from on one side. The other side is coming from a more religious based aspect of, well, that's not right, it's against the word, it's this. And I understand that, but also if you guys just both come together and be like, hey, we want equality for everybody regardless of their sexuality, because your sexuality really shouldn't dictate your equality. What you want to do in your bedroom, not my business. I don't care. I am a Christian. I still don't care. My brother was gay. I don't care. So, that's me personally. I grew up around that community, in that community. Don't care.
Yeah.
My brother was a Christian gay man, so before he died. So, like, it's a big thing of like just come together, discuss, have conversations, understand each other's personal views, and get over it. Like you don't need to argue and threaten. And it goes on both sides. I've seen threats from LGBT members to
Oh,
other people and then vice versa.
oh no, no,
So,
no. You are absolutely right.
and not even just LGBT,
While
like
I won't
everything.
say they actively, seek out places to
Mm,
gun
mm.
down,
Certain,
they will attack mentally and break people down and destroy their families and dox them, and
yeah.
that is not good either. Don't,
N-
especially
That's
doxing.
That's
Doxing is
new age
never good.
terrorism, dude. That's new age terrorism. That's all
Yeah,
that is.
oh god, yeah. No. Uh like I'm not saying they're innocent by any means. They do some fucked up stuff.
And when you say they, it's a select people in those groups. And that's what I want people to understand is there's
Yes.
select people in those groups. And we are getting way off topic from the Munsters, but it's very prevalent to this episode, I feel.
Yes, yeah,
Because just
that's
like grandpa realizes at the end, it's like, okay, I have these beliefs towards this specific writing. I don't think
mhm,
grandpa straight up says it's trash writing. He doesn't like it. He doesn't agree with it. It goes against his entire culture as a vampire, you
mhm,
know. But you know what? By the end of it, when he realizes, oh, wait, this isn't what we're supposed to do to fight against this. This is
mhm,
not how we as a vampiric people should be handling this situation. We should not be bombing places. We should not be killing people. We should be
Well,
I don't agree with him, but you know what? I still want him to live. So
let's remember he was perfectly fine with sending him to death, just him.
yeah, yeah. But by the end, he's like, yeah, no, I still don't agree with him,
Yeah.
but
and
I see what him being here stands for, and and if it's become such a response of these other people to take the steps of killing people or harming other people because of what he's saying, maybe I should take a step back and reevaluate the group of people I'm in. I think a lot of people had that realization, like I said, with the January 6th stuff and the QAnon stuff and all that of recent times when things were happening and some things were coming out from the QAnon groups that were kind of like, you really believe this still, dude? Like, really? I think there was like time travel or something involved at one point.
Oh no, that's still going on.
Is it? Yeah. So
a raising of the dead and clones, and
I mean, raising of the dead is a biblical thing, but
well,
that's
they
like
thought specifically one person was going to come back from the dead. That wasn't Jesus.
I don't know. There's multiple different ways of how all that could happen, and we don't know, and we'll never know until it happens.
I will. Oh damn! I had some. Oh, this is why journalists, like actual pure journalists, are so important. Though they raise the question, they write the stuff, and they're becoming a dying breed as we get away from actual journalism and
I was gonna
just
say,
go. Yeah. Like if you find. You're right.
Chair dropped. Yeah. But I was gonna say, I myself wanted to be a journalist when I was younger, but as I saw how things were progressing, especially because we were getting the war and everything too, I was just like, I don't see this as a viable way for me to speak truth anymore.
No. I mean, people are so obsessed with the stuff that doesn't even matter. Like CNN hired someone to follow Taylor Swift around. Not CNN. One of the major news outlets. Like their whole job is just reporting on Taylor Swift. That's not news. That's not journalism.
Yeah.
That's tabloid BS.
Yeah. And it's always gonna happen, dude. And but we still have to fight for the rights of the tabloid writers to write, not to follow and stalk people. To write.
Let's not have another Princess Diana.
Yes. Oh, poor guy. Man, why'd you have to go there? That hurt.
Yeah. But so if any of what I had to say gets edited out, I will not be upset in any way, and I completely understand, because
it's what I said is, whether I agree with you or not on anything, I still won't silence. Dude, that's literally the point of this entire Munsters episode that we just watched, was being silenced for your beliefs. And that's your beliefs, if that's your belief at this point in time in your life right now. That doesn't mean that this is a belief you're going to hold forever, necessarily. We don't know. You don't know.
I continue to fight for progressive equality.
And I mean, I would say I'm pretty progressive for the belief system that I have, I will say.
Oh, I will absolutely contest to that. Not contest.
But I've also been that guy who's like challenged my pastors and stuff. So
you've told me the what is it, discussions you've had with your pastor and stuff. So
so we'll see how things turn out. I wonder if any of them listen to this or not. But I mean, I've never been the person to shy away from letting people speak. We had on our other podcast that we did together, which we're deciding whether or not we're going to continue or not. But I've had many people on there with many different opinions, a lot of them a lot different than my own. And I I just want to create a world or community where people can discuss things and not have to feel they all have to agree constantly, but also not fight and not threaten each other and be like online, be like, oh, I'm gonna rape your mom or something, like just because you don't agree with somebody. Don't do that. My mom won't like it.
I would hope not.
So yeah, I mean, I appreciate everyone. If you guys stuck around and listened to this whole thing, I hope that you gathered something from it. Just
and this is a prime example of why you don't let me open my mouth or my brain.
Yeah, I would even say that this goes back to the Rob Zombie movie, dude. Like how the were trying to always, like, they were combative against each other. They sat back and just talked about it. Like we had a friend that didn't really care for the Rob Zombie movie, but we actually talked with them, and I've talked with them and figured out why. And I understand the reasons why, but they're not reasons that make me not like the movie.
And that's why I threw in there show purists. Like you see it all the time with Star Trek. Either the Next Generation is the only Star Trek or the original is the only Star Trek. Everything else is trash automatically without even bothering to go check it out themselves. I mean, I had to leave that freaking Facebook group after they attacked Frank. I can't deal with that.
Yeah. Well, you see it too right now in Star Wars. You get a lot of Star Wars purists with the TV shows, especially now that Star Wars accolade is turning into like Star Trek. But
it's good though.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. So yeah, I like this conversation. It was something that let us open up. This episode lets you open up to deeper discourse of people, and I would hope that people go out and watch this with your family, watch this with your friends, watch this with your spouse, and see if anything pops in your guys' heads. Granted, it's not like super hard hitting like throughout the entire 20 minutes, but there's a lot of information and a lot of stuff given within this episode that is worthy of talking about for sure, in the context of the story given, in the context of reality, in the context of what's going on right now in current times. And I'm sure in 20 years it'll still be, relative, which is sad. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that one.
And again, I apologize for opening my brain up.
You're good.
There's a reason you don't hear my opinions on these episodes, and you probably won't hear it again unless we have another something like this. But
yeah. So
what an interesting discussion.
And that was thicker than water, guys. Thicker
argument.
than
I'm sorry.
Water.
Interesting argument.
It's not an argument. It's a discussion.
Whoa. All right, so what are we talking about next week?
We can argue about whether or not we take homeless people and put them in body bags for blood.
I don't think there should be an argument about that one.
All right, so next week, guys, we are talking about the misadventures in time. Oh, no, not next week.
August
3
5th.
weeks. We're taking 2 weeks off, so in 3 weeks, we'll be back. 3 weeks from today, we'll be back with the misadventures in time. I assume time travel.
It's got to be time travel.
Grandpa and Doctor Who.
Yes, please.
If they have a time traveling telephone box,
that's just Bill and Ted.
Yeah. Oh crap. Yeah. So I assume time travel. Unless it's going to be another episode where we're getting like flashbacks throughout one person's time, because we really haven't had a backstory for Herman other than like what's talked about in discourse. I don't think it's going to be a Maryland centric episode. Sorry.
Or a Lily.
Yeah. So
yeah.
That it?
Yeah, I feel anxiety that I have upset you with things I said, but other than that, yes. I thank you for.
I don't get upset over things.
Yeah, I know I have weird anxieties, but thank you for the listeners if you made it this far. If you didn't, I completely understand and you won't hear this anyway, but I get it. So
Awesome.
believe me, I get it.
All right, that's your final words?
Yeah.
All right, guys. With that all said, we will catch y'all next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.